Hi again, everyone. Scott Pirate Popcorn fan here. I'm still going through a little bit of a cold, so hopefully I can last longer than I did in my Nightmare on Elm Street video and not lose my voice, but we'll see. Alright, so what I want to do for this one is I want to provide a film update for the Until Dawn movie. Now, this is a movie based on a video game that came out like 9 years ago, back in 2015, and that game did something different compared to most games. It was essentially like a movie, but you could basically make choices, right? Creating this butterfly effect. And the game did something unique in regards to gaming, in which you're basically just making choices for your characters, and the game was basically a love letter to the horror genre, right? It was very much the same kind of style as, say, Evil Dead or Cabin in the Woods. Relying on that kind of trope, fake jump scares, that kind of thing. A group of teenagers hanging out in a cabin, it did something that harkens back to that kind of genre within horror. And I especially like in the original game that opening song that plays, "Oh Death, oh Death." I love that song, by the way. There's a version of that on the Supernatural TV show too, and that one's even better if you ask me. But the game had quite the cast. You had Hayden Panettiere. She was in the Scream movies, most recently Scream 6. Rami Malek, so many actors. I know one of them was on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's funny because that's part of the reason why the movie, I'm assuming that part of the reason why the movie has a relatively new cast is because the actors that played those characters at the time were technically older than their characters, right? That happens a lot in Hollywood. You cast 20-year-old actors as teenagers, and it's not as notable. You can work around that when doing a video game and doing voice work. So that's one thing about that, and probably one of the reasons why they have a relatively new cast in the movie, except for Peter Stormare. He is coming back as his character from the game, and he was a very interesting character in the game too, so I'm glad that they're bringing him back. And another thing worth noting about this film is that David F. Sandberg is the director. For those of you that don't know him, he directed Lights Out, and also what is easily one of my favorite Conjuring spin-off films, Annabelle Creation. That's easily the best spin-off out of all the spin-offs that have come out, spinning off from The Conjuring. Annabelle Creation is easily my favorite in regards to that. So I do think David F. Sandberg can do a really good job with this film. Granted, he did make the Shazam movies as well, and say what you will about the second film, Fury of the Gods, but I thought the first one was really, really good, though. I loved the first Shazam movie. So I think he's a really great talent as a director for this Until Dawn film. I think he can really pull it off. And, it was just finished. The movie actually just finished filming, I think, like yesterday or the day before. I think October 4th was when they finished filming for this movie. So it's a going. I hope it. I'm not sure when it comes out. This no release date yet for this Until Dawn film. I would expect maybe around October next year, I would assume, because it is a horror film, and it has been said that it's a rated R film that will be a love letter to the horror genre, which is what the game was. The game was a love letter to the horror genre, so that's to be expected. And speaking of what was the main force, the main threat of the game that I hope makes its way into the movie, I assume it will. If you've seen movies like Ravenous, I know there's been different adaptations of these creatures in film, and if you've played the Until Dawn game, you know what I'm talking about. Uh, I don't think it's a spoiler because they have been teased in trailers for the game. I know, like, once or twice maybe in trailers for the game when it first came out back in 2015, but Wendigos. Those creatures fascinate me so much. I love the lore of the Wendigos. If you've seen the Supernatural TV show, the very second episode following the pilot of Supernatural was about Wendigos, and I just think that there's so much there that could be adapted into a horror film, and I've been wanting that. Like, I've seen the Ravenous movie. That was actually one of my favorite, one of my dad's favorite movies, Ravenous, and I'm really fascinated with the lore of the Wendigo creature, and the Until Dawn game really explored that, and I'm really curious to see how they handle that in this movie. So that's what I'm the most excited for, if I'm being honest, for this Until Dawn film. Just seeing a horror film based on these creatures and how interesting their lore is and how it connects to what's going on in this forest. And the movie was filmed in Budapest, so I'm really curious how this is going to turn out. I'm really curious. I think this movie has the potential to match the success of the game, because the game did really well critically, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. And I didn't play the game myself because I don't have the consoles to play it, but I've seen walkthroughs. You know, it's a really interesting game, and I cannot wait for this movie now. Like, I do have a couple reservations for this movie, just mainly because, you know, it's a horror film, and as a result of that, it's not going to have that same butterfly effect as the game, because the story of the game changes based on all the different choices that you can make as all the different characters that you play. And when you make a movie, that's different. You know, you can't interact with a movie like you can with a game. So that's part of the reason why there's one reservation I have for the movie, just for the sheer fact that you can't recreate that specifically for a film. So I'm curious how they'll handle the whole butterfly effect, you know, symbolicism, and how that was handled with totems in the game as well. I don't know how they're going to handle that in the movie, but we'll see. So, but other than that, though, I'm really excited for this project. I really am. You know, and I was looking up the cast. You know, I know one of the actors was in one of the more recent Hellraiser films, and it's a pretty young cast of actors too. They're in their early 20s, so I wonder if they'll be like young adults like the first game, probably. So, and I know that there was a remake that just came out recently too, for the game. There was a remake that was just released for the game, as ports to the PlayStation 5 and PC, I believe. So, yeah, now's a great time to be a Until Dawn fan, and I'm really curious how this is going to turn out. So, yeah, those are all my thoughts about this. And like I was saying, the thing I'm the most curious about is how they're going to handle the Wendigos in this film. That's what I'm most curious and most excited about, because I just love that lore there of those creatures. So yeah, that should do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Oh, death. Peace.